This video is brought to you by GamerSubs. Use code MHB at checkout for 10% off your next order. I unlocked the Platinum Trophy in 31 games this year, and where I originally thought about ranking every game I Platinumed in 2023, a lot of those games I felt could be boiled down to this Platinum was fun, until it wasn't, or this game was one of my favourites but the trophies just aren't that fun to grab. And that just wasn't as fun as I wanted it to be. So I figured since I don't play a lot of new releases, why not still do a top 10 list for the end of year celebrations, but for my Platinum trophies that I got in a year. I will give some honourable mentions before we reach our number 1 pick. Here's a list of the games we Platinumed in 2023. Take your guesses now as to which games you think are in the top 10, but without any further delay, after of course shamelessly asking, if you do enjoy the video to leave it a like, comment below your own top 10 favourite games you Platinumed or 100%ed in 2023, and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. Coming in at number 10 might come as a bit of a surprise, especially when you realise what I left off, but Star Wars Episode 1 Racer was such a fun Platinum. I was going into this game with abysmal expectations because even though I loved the game as a kid, I also loved Episode 1 as a kid, so that didn't really mean much to me. But the racing is a lot of fun, the game had me burst out laughing all the time, and it was a nice and simple Platinum to kill 4 to 5 hours on a winter night. It's not on the same level as some of these games I'll talk about later in the video, but it is one of the most memorable Platinum experiences I had all year in a good way, and is a game I have no problem recommending everyone give a chance. The game is genuinely just a blast to play and Platinum. Coming in at number 9 is a game that based on its IP you may think would be higher on the list, but I did get seriously burnt out by this game initially, and that is LEGO The Lord of the Rings. Now my love for the Lord of the Rings and Tolkien's worlds and lore is well known, and I ended up adoring my time with LEGO Lord of the Rings, wanting to snag more and more LEGO Platinums. However, the reason it falls all the way to number 9 for me is because of the LEGO 100% journey being a bit of an unnecessary pain. Playing the same levels twice is draining after a while, and if you aren't prepared for that repetition, you'll get burnt out, like I did earlier in the year. I am glad I came back and finished it though in a much better mindset because the levels are a good time and quite simple to smash out the second time around, but the open world stuff was so much fun and really made me feel like I went on my own journey from the Shire into Mordor. It is a LEGO game though, so it's not going to be for everyone, but as a big fan of both LEGO games and The Lord of the Rings, I just had a smile on my face playing this game. Coming in at number 8, we have yet another Star Wars game. What can I say? I'm a fan, and this is genuinely up there for my favourite Star Wars game ever made. Depending on the day, there's so many good Star Wars games. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I've now talked about this game in 3 separate videos, so I'll keep this one short. The Platinum journey for Fallen Order is mostly just a phenomenal experience. Outside of Zepho and Kashyyyk's 100% requirements, I loved playing through this game again to get the Platinum trophy because it was even better than the first time. If the map system was better presented and had fast travel from meditation points to cut down on backtracking, again this would be higher on my list. Coming in at number 7 is a game I was really glad I covered this year because I don't think this game gets enough love, and that game is The Ascent. The Ascent had me obsessed when I played the game back at release, and when I saw the game hit PS Plus, I knew I wanted to grab the Platinum, and the game didn't disappoint. This game is just a good time to play. The shooting feels crisp, the world and lore is captivating, the story is intriguing, and the trophies outside of one where I just needed to die over and over again were very natural to come by if you wanted to explore the game completely anyway. Seriously, if you haven't played The Ascent yet, please do. It's a great twin-stick shooter RPG set in this badass cyberpunk world. Coming in at number 6 is actually a bit of a knockback from my top 10 favourite Platinums video, but this is just how I'm feeling today looking at the other contenders, and that game is BioShock. Much like Fallen Order, I've talked about BioShock a lot on this channel now, but in short, just a special video game. Everyone knows why BioShock is amazing, and it's still one of my absolute favourite games, but the Platinum or 100% does a great job at enticing you to see everything Rapture has to offer as well as testing your skills. The reason I think Bioshock has dropped a little bit for me though is because I have played the game so many times at this point that even though I loved my time going for the platinum, it wasn't as memorable as some of the other games that are coming up, which I was less familiar with. Now we're into the top 5, the best of the best, and I just want you to remember what I just said, because coming in at number 5 was a game I honestly thought I would hate playing. I could never get into this series beforehand, no matter how much I tried. I figured it wasn't my cup of tea. But at number 5, we have Final Fantasy 15. Final Fantasy is one of those series I always wanted to like, but just could never really get into it. That's the beauty of the old wheel though, because it doesn't matter what I want. The wheel must get what it wants, and thank God it did, because Final Fantasy 15 was by far and away the most memorable platinum journey I went on in 2023. Now, Final Fantasy 15 is a beefy little platinum with some trophies that I'll be honest aren't the best, like needing to rubber band your controller for 10 plus hours just to level up some skills. But most of it is again, hey, if you enjoy the game, you'll get those trophies no problem. And while I was skeptical going in, and story-wise it took me a minute to get invested, once I did, I was hooked. I had so much fun driving around with the boys, the gameplay was a good time, the story got me in the end, and this finally made me a believer that I could actually enjoy the Final Fantasy series. Coming in at number 4 is a game that in hindsight should have made it into my top 10 favorite platinums, because this game is just simply phenomenal. And that game is Control. Control, much like a lot of the top games, is just such a natural platinum to go and grab if you love what the game has to offer. I mean, the collectible trophies are actually enjoyable to go after because the lore for this game is so damn good. Control is quickly becoming one of my favorite games from Remedy. I've played it now 3 times and it gets better each and every time, as I always feel like I find or discover something I missed the first or second time round. Sadly, I don't think I'll ever experience it in the same way again, as earlier this month, James McCaffrey unfortunately passed away. As someone who's grown up with Remedy's games and subsequently James's voice, he'll truly be missed, and it won't be the same playing these games knowing he's not around anymore. Play Control if you haven't, it's truly a phenomenal game and platinum experience. Coming in at number 3 is a game that we platinumed really early on in the year, and the more the months passed, the more I just kept thinking about how much fun I had with this platinum, and that's Deathloop. As I mentioned in my video on Deathloop, I was going into this platinum with terrible expectations because I'd tried the game before and I just didn't like it. Thanks to the wheel, once again though, that push to platinum the game actually made me love this game. Is it in the same league as Dishonored or Prey? For me, not quite, but damn is it a good time. The story was so damn captivating, the gameplay loop has that classic arcane freedom to a pretty solid extent. You know, it's not unlimited possibilities, but individually the levels are filled with potential to sneak or chaotically make our way to targets. The game itself is fantastic, and the platinum only makes the game better, encouraging you to experiment, tackling difficult parameters for success, unique challenges. It all keeps the game feeling fresh, which is impressive given, well, it's a loop that could easily have gotten repetitive. One of the true surprises in my platinum journey so far, and easily one of my favorites this year. Coming in at number 2 is an actual new release. What? That's crazy. I know, but this game truly was my game of the year. It blew me away, and that is Dredge. I didn't know much about Dredge going into the game. I mean, my knowledge basically boiled down to a fishing game that gets spooky at night, which is a pretty accurate blurb. Something ain't right here in this world as you set out to catch some fish, earn some money, complete some quests, and learn more about what the hell is going on around here. Just make sure you're doing all of that during the day, that is. It's this eerie atmosphere mixed with the grim art style and simple game premise that really drew in my attention, but after finishing Dredge, it quickly became my personal game of the year, and one of my favorite platinum journeys of the year. It's just the beauty in simplicity for the gameplay loop, catching and Tetrising fish in your cargo bay mixed with an unnerving story and mystery that just had me on the hook from start to finish. If you haven't played Dredge yet, go do that. I personally need to still play the DLC that has since been released, and I'm excited to jump back into this world. Before we get to our number 1 pick, I do have to give some honorable mentions because again, I did platinum 31 games and some just barely miss out. Spider-Man 2 was an incredible game and one of my favorites for the year, but platinum wise, I didn't find all that memorable. Borderlands Platinum is actually amazing. The 100% however is RNG hell. The SpongeBob Platinums were childlike fun. Cosmic Shake very narrowly missed out because of episode 1 Racer. South Park The Stick of Truth is an amazing game that I've platinumed twice now, but it's for that reason I didn't include it because I knew what the platinum was like. And lastly, Sleeping Dogs, another very underrated game that could have very easily made this list. There were some more great games I finally revisited this year like Red Dead Redemption and The Last of Us Part 1, but platinum wise I just didn't enjoy them nearly as much as I thought I would. But coming in at number 1 was just a game that simply started 2023 off the perfect way. One of my all-time favorite games with a fun as hell platinum. What more could you ask? My favorite platinum trophy of 2023 goes to Mass Effect. Again, Mass Effect's platinum journey just encourages the player to see as much of this game as possible, and what an experience that is. The wealth of combat related trophies forcing the player to make sure you really learn what abilities work best on what enemies, the trophies relating to exploring uncharted planets or completing a vague majority of the game. It's things like this that when you put on top of the optional but what I would recommend insanity playthrough that just had me fully absorbed in this universe once again. I want to be encouraged to immerse myself in all these games and do everything I can with added incentive. And when that ties into an all-time favorite game, of course that's going to be my favorite platinum of the year because I've experienced a lot of my favorite games this year, and the platinum doesn't always add to the overall journey. In Mass Effect, it truly adds to the experience, and I'm ready to not only finally revisit Mass Effect 2, but the whole series in the very near future. And just like that, my top 10 platinum trophies of 2023 is complete. This year has been one hell of a ride and I can't thank you all enough for your support. I started this year with 26,000 subscribers and now with the year coming to a close, I'm looking at 74,000 subscribers, and that is just insane to me. I've been making videos on YouTube now for close to 8 years, and if 19-year-old Jimmy could see the channel now, I know his mind would be blown. So thank you all for the support you've shown the channel this year. Special thanks to my channel members and Twitch subscribers for that extra level of kindness throughout the year. It truly does mean a lot to me. Big plans for the channel in 2024, but until then, I hope everyone enjoys the holiday season, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the new year.